just a weird evening. I got home, had a little bit of lunch, and just crashed. I had a nap. I got home at 3 o'clock in the morning, was up at 7:40. Remember, I 7:30 and I hit the snooze button once. Got up at 7:40, went to the barn, trained horses, qualified horses. Went to lunch with Amy and the kids, and then got home and just crashed for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I woke up and it was absolutely a torrential downpour. I'm like, oh goody, get to race in the mud. So head ready for landing in tonight, and nothing but a dreamer. We had horses in Georgian. As I'm getting ready, as I'm getting up and moving around, I watch Absolute Euphoria race. We'll talk about all that. So I guess the news of the day, a couple of things. Horses that are moving around. Per Lucky is now in Minnesota. He is going to be racing in Minnesota next week. I know, a lot of people say, Anthony, you're back and forth. It's not as easy as it looks to figure out where the horses need to be. And then you can be wrong also. I brought Steel Cowboy back tonight and had to listen to somebody tell me what kind of a terrible decision that was. Here's the thing. As you can imagine, if I take in everything you say, right? Whether it's meant harshly or kindly or in any way, I take it all in. But if any time anybody texts me and said, you need to do this and you need to do that and you need to do that, if I did that, nothing would ever get done. And I can't message John and Tina and Tom and Billy and say, hey, I'm really sorry the horse raced bad tonight, but, John wanted to bring the horse back, or Bill wanted to bring the horse back, and I thought it was a pretty good idea. It doesn't work that way, right? Sure, Steel Cowboy racing bad tonight's on me. He's an Ontario bred, and until we get him squared away, and he was not squared away in Kentucky. The horse won. He was 3 wide to the quarter. He was still bumpy. He's not squared away. It's not a horse you're just going to send to another jurisdiction and say, all right, away you go, have some fun. And to people that don't know him, or horses, but him especially, that horse, it may seem that easy, but it is not. And I'm going to get notes from people saying, Anthony, I've been in the game for 30 years, and I know, I get it. I get you've been in the game for 30 years. Just so we're clear, I've been training horses for 25 years too. It's not like I just thought this idea up and said, you know what, it'd be fun to be a trainer. I've been doing this quite a while myself. And I'm not always going to be right. There's going to be lots of times I'm wrong. But it's always meant with the best intentions. I could do a 25-minute video on Steel Cowboy and why I brought him back to Ontario and why we chose Georgian Downs. I could do that. But I didn't, because I don't have all the time in the world to make all the videos for everybody. I brought him back here because I thought this is where he needed to be. Horse bled tonight, 2 out of 5. I brought him back here because if he wasn't racing good, I was going to castrate him, which I'm going to do. There's no need for that horse to be. I know he's By the Missile's brother. Who cares? He's not a big horse. He's not a beautiful horse. He's going to be a useful horse, but he definitely will not be using his testicles. So we're going to help him out in that regard. He's going on the Lasix program. He's going to be castrated tomorrow morning if I can. And I'm not angry at the horse. This isn't me saying, I'm going to castrate that horse. No. I just think it's prudent. I think the horse needs to be forwardly placed all the time. When I talked to Andy Miller, he said, give him a swat in the tail, make him do his work, and push him forward. I said the same thing to Brett, but it's hard. When a horse puts a step in a couple of times, you don't want to fall. I don't want to be the guy say, hey, don't worry about that. Just let him rock. And then he does a belly flop in front of everybody, and they said, geez, Brett, why'd you drive the horse like that? Oh, well, Anthony McDonald said to. If you don't want to and you don't think it's safe, then don't. I'm not going to begrudge Brett or anybody else for not doing that. But we are, and I would say he probably bled a little bit in Oak Grove last week. These are things that have to be fleshed out. This horse has, 8 lifetime starts? 8. You just thought that we were going to take him off Amanda and Marty Fine and just turn him around like there was some kind of bumpkins? Come on, guys. These things take time, right? Not all the horses can race great all the time. But if we keep doing the right things, they will come around. And they'll race good after. And this is the time of year when people get involved or their horses don't turn out as good as they want, and then I get the brunt of that. I get that. It's fine. I got broad shoulders. Send me all the text messages you want. If you want to vent, go ahead. Fill your boots. But I have to ask, if you don't like what we're doing, why do you want to be a part of the stable? Feel free to sell your shares, and good luck. I wish everybody the best luck in the world, all of our clients, every single one of you. You want to buy a horse with someone else, or feel free. I have the phone number of every trainer in horse racing. I'd be happy to introduce you to anybody. If you feel that you would rather race horses in the way that another trainer does, then I encourage you. You should go out and do that. That's really part of why the stable was built. It was supposed to be a gateway to bring people in. It wasn't that I was going to bring them all in and they had to all agree with me. You don't have to agree with me. It's a free country. If you don't like how we race horses, by all means, just, like I said, go buy them with somebody else, and there'd be no hard feelings, none whatsoever. Anyway, Steel Cowboy is going to be castrated. He is going to go on the Lasix program, and I think that will be 2 very important steps to helping him moving forward. There. That's that. Not the end of the world. The horse already won in 52. He's already proven that he's talent, but he is not ready just to jump out. Somebody said, why didn't you just go to Mohawk? Because he would have got his face smashed in at Mohawk. Now, in fairness, he did that exact same thing at Georgian Downs, so you got me. But I am going to race the horse where he's going to be picked to win or bet down, not where he's going to be long shot. He would have been a long shot at Mohawk, and he would have raced just like that. I was just trying to get the horse in a position where he could utilize him in a more aggressive way. And it didn't work. Because that is the way it is sometimes. There's nothing wrong with the horse. He'll come around. But it's not going to be overnight. And I think that everybody has to understand that. I was happy with the way Oakwood Cowboy raced tonight. You saw how he finished up. A long way back to the horse we thought we were buying, but it looks like he's coming forward. Dominic's done a great job with him. Brett did a great job with him tonight. Finished up strong and behind everybody. There's a horse we can work with. But again, brought him here because I wanted to swim him and put him on the walker. Work on his throat. That horse never finished up his miles good before. Not for us, anyway. Looked good tonight. Anyway, we'll go all the way back to the start. I'm not angry at anybody. And you know, if you're the person that sent a note or sent an email and you're like, Anthony's mad, or Anthony's a dickhead, or whatever, I don't care. I'm not angry at anybody. Not you or anybody else. Just horse racing. But there's only one captain in every ship, and it is going to be me, because I'm going to be the one that takes the blame. That's the way it is. So let's rewind. We had a good day at the qualifiers. Not a great day, but a good day at the qualifiers. I got my nap in, get up, pouring rain, went down to Mohawk to warm up, ready for landing. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with everybody. He warmed up absolutely horrible. Ran all over the track, jumping, and I literally was sitting beside Scott Zeron. No, I was sitting beside Dustin Jones and Sylvain Filion, and I said, 0% chance this horse trots tonight. Now, I can tell you who saved all of you, and including me, my wife. She messaged me, and she said, Anthony, I know that Ready for Landing's wore that snake cord his whole life, and we both know he doesn't like it, but he wears it. While Johnny McKinnon trained the horse in the middle of the week, and he's throwing himself, he came in and took the snake cord off him, and he said he was fine. What do I got to lose? Took the snake cord off him. Now, I don't know if that was the difference, but it definitely was the only difference between the warm-up and the race. I took the Murphy blind off. I took the head pull off. All he had on was an open bridle. Now, the one beautiful thing about this horse is he gets really hot, but what he will do is be very polite in a hole. If you watch, I'm catching up to Trevor Henry. Now, I got an open bridle on this colt, and I'm saying to myself, I do not want to have to move him back to the front because he's going to pull up, and he's going to make a break. Sure as I'm a foot tall, that's exactly what's going to happen if I have to remove him. But Ready for Landing is polite to follow. I rolled right up in behind Trevor Henry's horse, and you can literally, if you watch closely, you can see him drop his head and drop the bit. And he followed just like an aged horse. I was so happy Because at that very moment, I knew that he would trot. But it took well over a quarter of a mile for me to take a breath. He followed perfect. We came out down the lane, moved him over, and he kind of hung there, and I just brushed him on the tail. Didn't even hit him hard on the whip at all. Just brushed it over his tail. And he screamed right through the stretch and ended up second, like a good horse. Now, I'm pulling up, and Sylvain had won the race. I catch up to him. We're talking. He said, and here you thought that horse wouldn't trot. I said, it's the wonders of horse racing. This is why we love this game. I would have bet you every dollar I had to my name that he would run all over the track. He said, man, he's a good-looking colt. I said, yeah, he's a three-quarter brother to What the Hill. He is a nice horse. And for a stud, he doesn't give you the feeling, this horse needs to be gelded. Not at all. He just seems like a nice horse. He said, well, what are you going to do with him? He said, New Jersey bred. I said, well, he's not mature enough to go to New Jersey. I could race him a few more times, but he's got it all figured out. He was good at the gate. He was good in the mile. He looked right at me. And there was a small, quiet voice in my head saying it anyway, but it wasn't going to get any louder. He looked right at me and he said, why don't you just kick him out for the rest of the year? Now, we have grown as a stable together a lot since we started. And I have never in my life had a horse race good and thought to myself, you know what I need to do with this horse? I need to turn this guy out right now. That has never, ever happened in my life. And I looked right at Sylvain, and that little voice in my head went, I said, you know, I think you're right. He said it's a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to have a horse race that good and say to yourself, I'm going to turn him out. But you know, what are you going to do? Race him 2 or 3 more times, win a maiden, and then, then wait till he starts to get a little sore and turn him out? I said, you know what, Sylvain, you're 100% right. There's 3 paths we can take, and there always generally is. We can keep going. There's 4 paths. No, 3. We can keep going. We can geld him and turn him out, or we can just turn him out. Now, generally speaking, the conservative approach would be to castrate him and turn him out. Just because is he going to need his testicles? Well, he's well bred, beautiful horse that doesn't wear trot and hobbles or now a head pull. It's the type of horse that Europeans want. Can't buy geldings up. They don't have geldings there. So I think I like the way Carter Michael Dio came back, although he got injured, but he's going to be on the road to recovery soon. I think we should just turn ready for landing out. And I know there's a lot of our clients that were just holding their breath, hoping I wasn't about to say that. But here's the thing. I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere, for the most part, that I'm aware of. And we always want the best horses we can have. And when I ask myself that simple question, what is the best way? How would Ready for Landing become the very best horse he could be? I agree with Sylvain. I think turning him out would be the best way. He's a very, very immature horse. You hear me say that sometimes. We're in July now, guys, right? And much like the Seasons of Love message from this morning, you have the horses that are ready to go right now. You have the ones that are on their way to being ready to go very soon. And you have the other ones that have question marks swirling around. Are they good enough? Are they going to stay sound? Do they have talent? Do they have a future? And we have some horses that will be sold. We've sold some. We'll continue to sell some. But we also have horses that are going to be keepers. Horses that I think will play a major role in the stable moving forward. Now, it's hard to get from second in a maiden at Mohawk in your second lifetime start as a 2-year-old to one of the better horses we have, or we could have. It's hard to get from one to the other. And I can't draw a straight line. That's unfair to you. But he could be. He could be a real special horse. His breeding says he could be. His gait says he could be. His attitude. He doesn't look to get out of work. This horse had an open bridle on tonight and ran all over the track in the warm-up. It would have been the easiest thing in the world for this horse just to roll off coming out of the gate. Make a break in the first turn with that no head pull or Murphy blind on. It would have been way easier for him to run than race tonight. And he chose the latter. Not only did he choose it, he did really good at it. And I have every reason to believe he's going to be a good horse for us. So I would like to turn out Ready for Landing. He doesn't need to learn anything more at the gate. He was perfect at the gate from the toughest place at Mohawk, the rail. After a rainstorm, muddy along the rail, he's along the rail, on the gate. No problems. Following, he's got it all figured out. He followed as cool as a cucumber and trotted as hard as he could down the lane. Everything we need him to do, he just did. So I want you to sleep on it. Don't send me a note tonight. I want you to sleep on it. So I got a lot of partners out there. I think we should turn out Ready for Landing. Not because he's sore, not because he's ignorant. Quite the opposite. Because I think we're sitting on a very, very, very good horse. And I think turning him out will be the best way to see if I'm right or wrong. And I don't think we should castrate him. So, earlier on the day, absolutely euphoria, race great. Brett got away in the 3-hole as a big favorite. He came first over. And the horse in the front give up a valiant effort. 52 last quarter, 28, a little bit slower half. Opposite fractions from last week. They were hot, and then they collapsed on the front end, and she inhaled them. She did do a lot of work today, and she finished up right with them. I thought she raced very, very well. Brett's getting to know her better now, and I think she's going to be a very effective filly for us in the near future. Well, she is already, but in the future also. Pull this down for a second. As I said, Ready for Landing, one of the bigger surprises of the evening was the race from Ready for Landing. I thought the horse raced. I'm trying to find the right adjective. I thought he raced incredibly well. Incredibly well. I went out in the track. Before I went out in the track, I got to watch Steel Cowboy and Oakwood Cowboy race. Steel Cowboy was disappointing, as a couple of our clients pointed out. And you're right, he was. And I went through the whole thing with everybody on Steel Cowboy. He is going to be castrated. He will go on Lasix. And this is part. We're trying to put a puzzle together. And I can't do that sending them to affiliate trainers. And I know people are going to say, well, they're not idiots. No, but we're trying to put a puzzle back together, not just race horses. And it's very easy just to put them on the track, do a bunch of vet work to them, and say, that didn't work. We're going to go back to the vet again next week, then put him on the track again, somebody else drive him, because the first guy doesn't want to drive him now. Then they duck him again. He's no good again. How long does it take? We get 4, 5, 6 starts in before the guy calls and says, I don't know, Anthony, I appreciate the work, but this guy's just not working out. Now we're 0 for 6, and everybody's soured on the horse. I don't want that to happen. And I know that a lot of people don't understand, and it's the people that have been in the industry that could understand it, that don't quite understand it. Oakwood Cowboy is in a transition. It could go bad, it could go good. Our job is to continue to focus on the bad things we have to kind of polish up, the good things that we want to accentuate on the horse, and trying to let him become the horse he was bought to be in any way, shape, or form. So I'm very aware Steel Cowboy did not race good. He's going to join the Lasix program. That's 14 days off. In that 14 days, hopefully tomorrow morning we can castrate him, and in that 14 days he'll be cleaned up, and by the time that 14 days is up or just thereafter, we should be able to start racing him again. I thought Oakwood Cowboy was very good. I think Dominic has done a tremendous job with a horse that was really hard to control, that wasn't breathing well, to a horse that looked very quiet and was looking for room tonight on the end of the mile. That's the first time I've seen him do that in a while. Great job by him. Nothing but a dreamer, kind of in the mix, but not looking to attack. And I think he was out of gear in the last turn a bit. I was going to call Harry. A little bit ago and talk to him maybe about the shoeing. I can talk to him tomorrow also about Nothing But a Dreamer. I think he's good. I think if we just had a hair longer shoe on him behind it, just hold him up a little bit in the turns a little bit more, he would be a little more useful. We could get him up on a helmet and get him raced. I thought he was decent. Murphy Blind, I think, and now I only drove him once, but James and I were talking, pulling up, and I think maybe take the Murphy Blind off, put that little longer shoe on. Those two very, very minor things might make a big difference on this guy. But again, that's a conversation for Harry. And then Cintra's bleeding a little bit, I think. He's a little bit older horse. It's a very, very hot weather right now and humid weather. And I think, tonight, 27.55 in the mud, around the last turn, Brett cut him loose, and to get run down by a horse that is inferior. In fact, most horses, if you judge them on their full careers, are inferior to Cintra. But A horse that probably shouldn't have beat him, picked him off tonight. But he raced good. We just have to get him better. And that's not an easy thing to do. And, I get messages from people all the time saying, send him to Yonkers, put him in a claimer. Listen, if you guys think that I'm just going to run him into the ground and suck every ounce of soul out of that horse, you're in the wrong place. You just are. So that's not going to happen. So, Sintra was good tonight. Wasn't nearly as good as he's been, but good tonight. And hopefully we can work him back into a position. It would be impossible for me to tell you, how do we get him back on the path he was last year? He's 10. I think there's a real possibility he'll never be on that path again. So what do we do now with Sintra? So I think we stay at Grand River and Georgian for a while with him. And if we rest him a little bit at the end of the summer and get him ready for the winter, I think that might be best. Although I didn't love him in the winter last year. A few question marks swirling around Sintra. So great conversation to have with Harry about him tomorrow. So when it comes to how the day went, I think decent. We didn't have any winners, did we? A second with Ready for Landing, a third with Absolute Euphoria, a fourth with Cowboy. Sintra was second. And two, Nothing But a Dreamer, I think, was sixth, but in the mix, 54 and a bit, I think. And Steel Cowboy was terrible, but we'll work on him. A little bit slower day coming up tomorrow. I think we just have Cash Deals and Wallop, if the calendar is correct. But then things get a little busier from here on in. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I try to be as informative as I can, and as I said, for the people out there that want to vent or send notes after the race, you're more than welcome to. I get broad shoulders. I understand it. But I want you to understand one thing. It's not that easy. For you to be one of 25 people that own any particular horse, or twice that in some cases, or one of over the 900 clients that are part of the stable, I have to try and do what's best for everybody. And I'm not always going to be right. But I am going to do my best to be right. And if it's not acceptable enough for anyone out there, then, as I said, I'm happy to help try and facilitate any move to any barn that you'd like. So with that, I hope everybody's having a good day. I did have a pretty good day. I got to catch up on a little bit of sleep. Got to dodge mud because it rained so hard. The track was actually pretty hard, and it dried out pretty quickly. So we were lucky in that regard. Not so lucky for everybody in Georgian. The track was pretty muddy and awful there by the looks of things. So with that, I'll let you go. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Not a whole lot to report tomorrow. Just a little lag work in the barn. Cash Deals is racing tomorrow night. Wallop is in tomorrow. Makes his first start for us. But we start prepping everybody Friday. The Colts are in Philadelphia. We have horses in Scioto that are racing also. I'm going to be at the Meadows. Crantini is in to go, and a number of other horses. Oliver has a baseball tournament coming up. So today, right now, this time, between now and tomorrow morning, is really the only reprieve I'll have from Full Speed Ahead here soon enough. So I'll talk to you, as I said. Talk to you soon. I hope you had a great day. Take care.